So we finally have some more news on MapleStory Classic World, and there's a good amount to unpack here. I already briefly read through most of this, and I'm going to skip through some of the earlier parts that kind of just covers some of the stats and things that happened in closed beta 2, and just kind of go to the more important details that they have here. So we finally have what everyone's been so eagerly anticipating. We finally have a release date. And as you can see, there's two dates here. So we have the Founders Access on October 6th, and we also have the grand launch on October 21st. So what this means is there's going to be a paid early access pass that you can buy, where you can start about 15 days ahead of the general population that's not going to buy that pass. And kind of the key thing to note here is that it says your character and progression from Founders Access will carry over into the grand launch. So this is not a early beta right before the game releases. No, this is going to be you being able to play the game 15 days in advance and ahead of the regular population that doesn't buy the Founders Pass. I know the Founders Pass is very controversial so far, and I do think that it has a good amount of problems that it brings. So as you can see, it says it will go on sale on September 2nd. We don't know how much it'll end up costing. From the pictures here, you see there's the snail, the mushroom, and Zachem. So it looks like there's going to be 3 different tiers. I'm hoping it's not too expensive so that more people can purchase it if they want to. But I think the problem is not necessarily that it's a paid product. I think 15 days is a very long time to kind of separate the launch into 2 different dates. Because the launch for most games is going to be the biggest and most important day for that game's long-term health. It's very rare that you see games that have a poor launch rebound really well. Obviously there's some few exceptions there, but in general, one of the problems that this brings is it kind of splits the player base into these 2 fragmented segments. So you have the Founders Pass, the players who bought the Founders Pass, they get to play 15 days in advance, whereas everyone else is going to be waiting until the official or grand launch date. And I know there's a lot of hype around Maple Classic. I know people have been waiting 10 plus years for an official Classic server, and just kind of splitting the player base into those 2 separate parties, I think would lead to some harm, because Classic World does have a good amount of changes from old school Maple, from what it was way back in the day, and there's just a kind of a completely different feeling when you're going into a game that you may have played back then but has a good amount of changes, and you kind of get to experience everything as a collective group. But now that you have one group that's kind of gets to experience it ahead of time, and then I'm sure the people who didn't buy that pass, they're going to probably watch some of the content, and they're not going to be able to experience it for themselves for the first 15 days. And I think that also definitely puts a little bit of a damper on some of the hype, because I know, like I said, people have been waiting 10 plus years for an official Nexon supported Classic server, and I just feel this is probably just the wrong way to go about it. I think, like I said, I don't think the main problem is that it's a paid product, because obviously they're going to have to monetize the game somehow. I just think 15 days is just kind of an absurd amount of time difference between 2 parties getting to play the same game, essentially. All I could really hope for, besides Nexon just completely walking this back, is maybe they could reduce the amount of days where the Founders Pass is ahead of time. I think at most it should be somewhere between like 5 to 7 days ahead, and that's kind of pushing it. I really don't think it should be even close to that. I think maybe like 2 to 3 days is probably fair, so that you're not like splitting the hype too much between the two parties, but we're just gonna have to wait and see if they make any changes on that front. And in terms of pricing, all I can hope for is that at least the cheapest version is not that expensive. They kind of mentioned that it comes with cosmetics and NX equips. So I'm assuming they're probably going to put, I guess, the more desired ones in the more expensive options. But as long as like the base ones are not too expensive, that should allow more people to play on the 6th of October. Yeah, like I said, just hope Nexon reconsiders this at least a little bit, because this is potentially damaging to like the long-term health of the game. So moving on, yeah, we have they're talking about the launch content, so they take make note of the fact that some of the stuff in the second beta test is not going to be included. So they mentioned Orbis, Elnath, and Third Job Advancement are not going to be included. And I think this is a good thing. I think First and Second Job did seem mostly polished, and I think it was ready for release. A lot of the stuff in Third Job seemed like it was kind of a work in progress, so it would have been kind of bad for them to release that as is. I do think they needed to tweak some of the balance changes that they made, and just some of the numbers overall. And it seems like, yeah, a lot of the Third Job stuff is mostly like a work in progress, and they're trying to get a better vision for Third Job of what they're actually looking for. And I think this is a good thing, so that people will kind of get to experience like First and Second Job to their fullest without just rushing to Third Job. So moving on to Mark of the Beta, they did mention that this is like a very special item. Obviously, for players who played way back in the day, the actual original like Maple Beta, they got this like iconic equipment. And it is mentioned here that all players who join us during the early days of Classic will have an opportunity to earn it through an in-game quest scheduled to end in November. To me, this is a bit vague, because it could mean that only Founders Pass members could get this, but it could also mean that anyone who joins basically before the quest ends in November will be able to get it. So it's not entirely clear to me what they mean by early days of Classic World. I hope it means that everyone who joins before November can get it, but it's not impossible that this only refers to Founders Pass, which would be a bummer as well, going along with everything else that I mentioned about the Founders Pass. So now they kind of talk about where kind of the direction that they want to take for Classic World, and I think kind of the thing that so the line that kind of meant the most to me here was it's saying that with Classic World, kind of they bolded it. So with Classic World, we want to bring forward that other side of MapleStory, the idea that playing a little bit more slowly can be just as enjoyable, and embrace the beauty of taking it slow. And they say basically you can spend some quiet time training in Alinea, head back to Hennessy, and lose track of time talking with friends. So this actually kind of goes back to one of the other videos that I made, where I talked about why MapleStory Classic World is so much fun. And this kind of goes, I kind of compared it a bit to modern Maple as well as modern live service games. So I think the message there is kind of similar to what I said, where it's a game that you want to be able to just pick up when you want to play it. And if, let's say, you don't feel like playing it for, let's say, the day or the week, you're not going to feel like I'm missing out on anything. They even say a MapleStory where you can explore at your own pace, step away for a while, and come back without feeling like you have lost your place. So obviously I'm taking this with a little bit of a grain of salt because I know like basically every single modern live service game has some FOMO mechanics in it, some like dailies and weeklies and things you need to do like on a daily and weekly basis in order to gain progress towards something. And they did add the citizenship feature, which does have like a daily and weekly. So I just hope that there's not going to be too much of that, and that's, at least for the foreseeable future, is going to be the only one. But kind of the key talking point I made in that video is you want to play the game because you want to get on the game because you find it fun and you want to play it, not because there's some obligation or expectation to get onto the game, or you feel like you're gonna miss out on something if you don't get on the game at like a specific like daily or weekly or things like that. And I really hope this is one of the things that makes me a little bit hopeful, but I really do hope that they stick to this, where it's just gonna be a game where, hey, I want to go on and grind, kill some mobs, do some quests, and I do that. And if I'm not feeling it for the day, I don't have to, and I'm not gonna like lose out or feel any pressure from not doing so. So moving on, we have this was actually another big one, our approach to the cash shop. So they mentioned that they want to avoid selling items that directly boost EXP gain. So that's like a very explicit statement. So I'm going to assume and take that at face value and meaning that they're not going to implement 2x coupons or anything like that, where it'll just kind of directly pay for like power progression. And they also make note of the fact that they don't want to. The cash shop will primarily focus on cosmetic and convenience items. So the cosmetic part, self-explanatory, the stuff, the outfits and everything that people enjoy about decorating your character, dressing up your character and things like that. The convenience items, I am not 100% sure which ones they are talking about. The one that comes to mind first is like hyper teleport rocks, and I'm still a bit mixed on how I feel about teleport rocks, whether they're like good or bad for the game as a paid feature, because I know it saves a lot of time, and although it's not directly related to your progression, I know some players will consider that to be like a key advantage. So still not sure what other, like how to feel about teleport rocks in general. It's not really an item that I used too much back then when I was playing, and I guess time will have to tell on that, because convenience items is very vague as well, because in my mind that's like the number one item that pops up. There's another item that I think this could be mentioning too, which is the Owl of Minerva, which allows you to search for items in the FM. Basically, you type it in and it tells you which shops have that, and you could teleport to them. And I hope that this is not one of the items that's like super expensive if they are going to add it in. I think it's one of those fundamental features of the FM in order to be able to search what you're looking for. I know back when I was playing the second beta, I had a lot of fun going through all the different like free market channels and stores, but I know not everyone has the time to do that. So I do think one of my hopes is that when they're talking about convenience items, if they do mean something like Owl of Minerva, that it is going to be reasonably priced. I don't remember how much it cost in the past, but it's going to be one of those items that you might need to buy a lot of just to save some time, rather than kind of going through every single channel that there's stores in the FM. Let's see if there was anything else. Yeah, it looks like that was about it. I do have some mixed opinions on this. I'm still very much hyped for Classic World. I had a ton of fun playing the closed online test 2. the Founders Pass, I really hope that Nexon and Ink One team strongly reconsider at least a little bit. Like, if they're not going to make it so, if they're not going to eliminate the early access, at the very least they should reduce the amount of days that you get ahead to not like split the player base so much. And that's pretty much like the biggest, I guess, downside that I've seen in this, I guess, note so far. Because the things that they mentioned about the Maple Classic experience, about not feeling like you're going to fall behind, that is one of the reasons why I found it so much fun, despite the fact that like we lose our progress in the beta test. So I hope they stick true to like the words that they've mentioned. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, I'm still like super looking forward to playing it when it releases. And yeah, I just hope that, like I said, they do reconsider at least somewhat on the Founder Pass. So this will pretty much cover my thoughts on this. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subbing to the channel and giving the video a thumbs up. I do have a lot more video ideas on Classic and some of the direction that they're taking it. And I do like making videos like this where I can just give my kind of raw thoughts going through notes or anything that I kind of notice in game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.